My dad, he's the only parent figure in my life, so, you know, he's been super supportive about everything. When it came to football, my dad played football. I wore his number, you know. If I was to wear a number on this jersey, it would be 55, like my dad's number. When I was growing up, he was watching me play all these video games, right? And I think for a lot of parents, they think, oh, my kid's wasting his time, you know, it's not gonna go anywhere. But now I can say, hey, I'm in college for VALORANT. You know, there's not a lot of people that can say that. I hope that makes him proud. He's been very vocal about me, but I do want to win this tournament so he can be even more proud. I've fallen short more times than I can count, either second place or semifinals. I think at one point I had eight second place finishes. So, you know, I've constantly failed to get over that one bump. I think the one that really motivates me the most was my first year playing. There's the Red Bull Campus Clutch tournament, and we lost in the Canadian finals. And I remember sitting at my desk for about an hour just not saying a word. And, you know, my dad knew that I was in the tournament, and he didn't want to come in and say anything because he knew that I was going through it. And, you know, I always think back to that day. It's like, I hated that feeling. I don't want to lose again. But, you know, I'm also doing it for all the people that have been supporting me for the past 3 years. For my dad, who messaged me this morning saying, you know, good luck, have fun, you know. I fell short in football and rugby multiple times. I've fallen short in VALORANT, so, you know, if this could be the one that I finally pull off, I can always look back to myself 20 years from now, and I can tell stories like, hey, you know, I won a national championship in VALORANT.
A touching story there from Moves, where I think Dryad at this point, the players feel it in Winthrop University. They say, hey, we have defied the odds. And I mean, you gotta say it, right? Moves, of course your dad's proud of you at this point. The performance that we've seen, an electric one in map 3 to get the wind underneath the wings. Now, it was a map where map 1 and 2, although map 1 not as close, map 1 and 2, Winthrop had momentum. They had rounds that they started to piece together. They slowed themselves down by taking these timeouts, and it allowed Northwood University to capitalize on Fracture and eventually get the win. Now, that was not the same story on Split. And now we see if the story is different here as we a blast from the past here, Dryad. We are headed out to Icebox.
We go to Icebox for the 4th map here. And yeah, like you were saying, things are going to change up a little bit. But the main thing is we're mostly likely going to be seeing those two duelists that we talk about and set up early on the day once again going at each other. That 1B moves back on the Jet, and on the other side, Ferbs are actually going for this race. No way! Oh my god, guys, I'm freaking out.
I was wondering.
Bringing the Reyna. Nasty. I mean, if you're gonna bring something to the grand finals, it has to be this. And it has to be on Icebox. This is actually the best of my life, everybody.
I'm stunned. I have just been fault lined. I've been breach ulted. Where's the Nazi breach? He completely flips the script, and like you said, if there's ever a time, hey, come out here and have some fun. We know that's what Winthrop's looking to do, and that is going to be a very fun pick.
This is awesome to see, actually, from Winthrop, bringing that change, taking us all the way back to, what, 2 years ago almost, when that Reyna and Jet were meta on Icebox, then everybody stopped playing that Reyna.
Yeah, and Nazi just sitting there like he's not doing anything, like all coy and smug, like he didn't just lock in Reyna.
This is not the...
When you play, it's the meta. when you play, Reyna is always in the meta.
It's gonna be cool to see. I'm wondering how the adaptations for Northwood are gonna look like. In paper, though, this is Arena, so it should be easier than the old comp that we got to see from Winthrop. But if you want that boost of confidence, the Reyna's there for it.
The Reyna is definitely there. We'll see how much value it can find. It's the first of the 4 maps that we have seen that Winthrop will start on the defense. And while an early suppression from Darkest will spot the placement of 3 defenders for Winthrop University. Meanwhile, the rest of the squad, spike in hand for Northwood as they head out towards A.
Standing ahead.
And only one player up close, that one being A77. But we saw what he's capable of doing when he's in these kind of positioning, as the rest of the team is able to give a little bit of that extra support with the space granted. A77 once again good with the sheriff.
Yeah, I mean, give this guy a sheriff in the pistol round and he'll show you just how to use it. Fortunately for Northwood, A77 is no more. Benji get a match 2 for 2. Well, to A77 and to Benji. The rest of the team, unfortunately, is gone as Ali will try his hand. The spike just out of reach, and it's a pistol round again that belongs to Winthrop.
starting strong here with that pistol for Winthrop, that defensive side that started playing aggressive towards B, and that might be something they're gonna see a couple times, right? They're playing around these two duelists, and now they have with Arena on that last round towards B, pushing, then backing up, and making sure that A77 was there for it. Rifle once again in the hands of this guy, as it seems like he even goes back to the comfort of that initiator role. We saw him a little bit more on that Sentinel, but the Sova and on this map of Icebox is even better than you can expect.
Yeah, both Sova players happy to be back on this comfort pick, that being A77 and Dip. Meanwhile, in digging through the archives, this comp has never been played by Winthrop, at the very least. Nazi has never wandered into this territory. As Verbsa will find the first, A77 there to collect another for Winthrop. Make it two.
Spike down.
The Reyna, aforementioned, also found a kill with the Stinger. An anti-eco where Winthrop pretty handedly find themselves in the lead. We've seen Northwood steal these rounds away. This time, that will not be the case, as Dip can only hope for some damage on the way out. Damage has not yet been found. Nazi will close out the round. That Reyna creeps closer to that ultimate, and Winthrop find themselves an early 2-round lead.
2 rounds here for Winthrop, and it does really feel like that throwback of what the old meta used to be like. The way that they're setting up, where back then with this Reyna and Jet, we would see them playing pretty much alone on the A side, Sova pivoting from that mid to A, depending on the pressure that the attacking side was bringing. And they're doing exactly that, at least for that round. That was the plan, that was the execution. And for the defense, it was good to secure it.
Not a patented Winthrop timeout, instead a technical one. It doesn't seem like anybody spilt their drinks on the stage. I feel like
you would do that.
I would absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Actually, that's why we have a nice little table underneath us here, or else all of this equipment would be damaged. And I'd be paying for it out of pocket. I do make rookie mistakes. I was a kid who put the glass too close at the buffet to the corner of the table, and eventually a worker had to clean it up.
Not the case, at least.
Not the case here. Yeah, fortunately, these guys looking like professionals. Their first time sitting in these seats. Mentioned by, I think, all of the players collectively. You know, this right here, outside of all of what North would have pieced together in way of their accolades. I mean, this takes the cake. Sitting here
Yeah.
in the Riot Games arena. I mean, there's nothing like it.
And a couple of the players got asked, the people that they admire, the players that they admire. And of course, they mentioned the Americas players that sit here as well. So there's got to be that feeling of, you know, I wonder what players were sitting here. Was it my favorite player? Was it Crashes? Was it Marv, as a couple of them mentioned? Was it Jake, the one who made it out of collegiate to that tier 1? So you think about all those things, and it's a lot of emotions that the players go through for this one. But when it comes to getting those kills and locking it down, they will make sure they're doing so. As the tech pause is over.
If there was a spill, it has been cleaned up.
It was not.
It was not a spill. It's not a spill. So I'm selling a false narrative as we come out of that one. Round 3, full buy for Northwood University. Meanwhile, the bonus isn't the worst for Winthrop. They do have that rifle in the hands of A77, who has found heaps of value. And look at this. I mean, this is what the Reyna can do, right? Find that kill, back away, dismiss to safety, and a player down on Northwood starting again.
And it was an extra support as well with the Jet and the Sova, making sure that those angles were being watched as the Reyna starts pushing, and immediately that rotation comes through. And that is exactly where Northwood is.
And Darkus found that kill on Takomi, but look at the health. And there's no Sage, no Sky, so 15 HP is where the robot stays. Nazi gonna try his hand on the other side, though. Ollie was on the angle. As wall goes down, Nazi gives it up. And Northwood University, they're quiet. They're slowing down. But look at moves. They can't go back to A for free.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy at all. And you got to know this Jet, is going to be positioned towards A, but are you expecting this kind of aggressive position from Moobs? Not at all. Darkest goes down because of it.
Yeah, Moobs perfect on the headshot there, but needed to be anything but that. It was only 15 HP again for Darkest. And with that, they say, hey, there is no way in for us. Let's work our way back out towards B, where Benji has gained some space, but it's immediately taken away. An Icebox that we have not seen in some time for Winthrop has started 3 rounds ahead for this squad.
With no time. The bonus going for the set of Winthrop. The buy was still strong, but securing it feels even better. This is so interesting too, because we talked about Winthrop, we talked about this Reyna that we were not expecting at all, but on the other side, there's a Raze here. It's not the Jet, and this is not new. Ferbsa has been playing this raid, has played that Raze on Icebox in the past, but it's not the meta that you see constantly happening, and even using that operator, getting space with that operator becomes a lot harder, so you are potentially expecting a lot more of those rifle buys and rounds to be played out by the side of Northwood, and trying to play around what this guy wants to do.
Yeah, and with that rifle, he saves it from the last round. He's going to try his hand once more. The team bought up just a bit behind him, but it's only upgraded pistols. Stinger to Marshall and Dip, I think either on the receiving end of a few shots or a shock dart that landed. Either way, he's down to 12 HP early in this round as we get some of that Raze util. Nazi on the wrong side of that toxic screen. Another goes up, this one the way of Comey. Ferbs are going to try and find his way on. Again, the rifle is here. A77 finds the first. Benji there for trades, but it doesn't matter. A77 continues to lock down this A site. Ferbs is around the corner. 3 kills for the Sova, but it has not been enough for the round. 12 HP for Dip. A bit more for Ferbs, but he's not the healthiest, but it just doesn't matter. Chipped away at once more. Comey now put in a tough situation. Sticks and stones brought into this round. The drop down, the backstab is there. And there's the Molly kill as well. Comey goes huge.
And right by the same time, he gets the 2. The util just so clean. I mean, what can this guy do at this point? Comey with a 1v2 that makes it look like it was nothing. Just had to take care of 1. And then Molly was going to do the rest 4. And oh, so far for Winthrop. This is not the script that we had at all.
No, and Comey was instrumental in the victory in map 3 on Split, having a huge performance. Those were his first 2 kills. The amount of impact that this guy continues to find for his team to keep this momentum going forward. We talked about how that was an issue, but Comey keeps it alive. Now Northwood have another buy. They have a showstopper and a lockdown here in tow in this round, and a full buy behind it.
And now Comey's alone at A. The setup changes a little bit with the 2 duelists trying to push mid, but Moves goes down. The rest of the team there, once again, to support from mid back to A. And the question is, does Northwood still want to commit to this? The success just hasn't been there. Every single opening pick, as they try to get the space, ends up going the way of Nasty.
Yeah, here comes that showstopper. Paint shell's already used. Now is he taken down? Showstopper doesn't find too much, but it opens up this side of that fragment. Gets a little goofy. Fortunately, not needed thus far. Health chipped away at, but still 5 alive for Northwood University.
Out of charges.
And the spike, yeah, it didn't get planted. They want to take these fights first. Player gets 2 actually on this Killjoy.
Yeah, huge. And Darkness, not good to fight here. 10 HP.
And it forces both of the lockdowns to come through.
And both lockdowns used.
Spike planted.
A77 to back away. Flare will follow. It allows for that spike to get planted. Here comes Hunter trying to try and clear things out. Blind as a bat, but he finds one with the Hunter Shuri.
And Darkest was solo. Anyways, 4 HP to work with the 2v2. And a retake attempt, a defuse. It can't get half. The kill is there for A77. Anyways, all up to Ollie.
And what can Ollie do? The spike's not planted for him. He had to spam through the box. And Flare, understanding fully the situation at hand, and Winthrop find a 5th in a row.
And when we saw before a 6-0, a strong lead, it was also Winthrop once again talking about this momentum that the team gets, and they hold on to it for as long as they can. When they bring also that surprise factor, it just becomes even better for them.
One enemy remaining.
Ali is going to have a Viper spit here potentially for that post, but with the aggressive position once again on this defense, they cannot take that space at all.
And things get a little weird. Drone will force moves off the angle. Darkest just playing with the sounds of this playground that we call Icebox. Up the rope, drop down, nobody quite pushed up just yet. They forced the early aggression away from Winthrop University. Now they're starting to take space.
Nasty just holding on to this corner. I want to see for how long.
He snuck by the alarm bot.
The smoke. Oh, they have no idea.
He snuck by the alarm bot. Benji finds it first. While all that chaos is happening, the hit will finally come through out towards the A site. And it's been claimed by Northwood University. A huge blunder out towards mid.
The smoke there, that was the call to go across and make sure that alarm bot on the defense didn't get activated massive around, and that is the green light. Once they go right behind him, Flare, Komi. Once again, the last one's here, but we've seen what they're able to do. Flare good for one, Komi goes down.
Yeah, 3 more to worry about though. Nano swarms being popped here. Second one goes through. Flare was not able to deal with those. All the high ground angles starting to be taken as the snake bite comes down as well, and it'll be a team ace. Ali's snake bite to get it done eventually. Northwood finally on the board. I mean, but what did it take? You go back into that round, and that right there, I mean, a penny into the wishing well that allowed Rip Benji to lurk up mid.
I mean, how many times are you gonna be able to do that, right? Now, everybody's gonna be hyper aware of this, especially at these smokes. Once they come through and allow that play and that flank to be effective. It's one that you also want to do, you know, in a round like this one, to secure your first round on the side of Northwood, but it's going to take a lot more of adaptation, and they go for this A hit early on. They go for that A presence, and every single time there's a Reyna, and even when they get that info with the KO knife, that's not enough to go for the push.
Wow. Speaking of going for pushes, Nazi continues to do it. If this guy's got a stinger, you've got problems. As he fights for today, main A77 dealt with by his counterpart and Dip. Did find a bit of damage. Good timing on Burbsa. Puts the util away. Nazi allowed to survive, but Ali here to collect. We'll catch that Reyna before he can find his way out of the situation. And look at the buy for Winthrop. It's been 5 rounds in a row, but to say that this has been a one-sided affair, I mean, couldn't be further from the truth. You win 5 rounds in a row, you should have economy of plenty. You should be sitting pretty. Instead, every round has been so close that they can't buy a single thing as kills continue to go back and forth, but Northwood still in the driver's seat as they claim the safe site. Comey's been good for the heroics, but with 20 HP and a Guardian, I think these heroics will be saved for another time.
And like you said, these rounds, they've been expensive for both of the teams. One Viper spit and followed by the other actually committing to this one. Full confidence into it. Peen shells. Not gonna connect in too much. 20 HP as well to work with for the Viper.
And you know, I like this. I just send it, right? Confidence is what we need to see from Winthrop, and that's exactly what they're showing us here, down to 1 HP through this decay. The Viper's pit of his own gonna be subsiding here momentarily. Just around the corner was Ali, who collects a 3rd kill on the round. Most importantly, a 2nd round win for Northwood.
The 2nd one, and by that, still though, it wasn't the best for Winthrop, and yet they made it so expensive. So you can expect these back and forth rounds to continue going. I'm slowly seeing the adaptation route of Northwood that knows this Reyna, this Jet, this Sova. They are usually going to be playing towards A, and even after they get suppressed, that's not going to slow them down. They're still going aggro for it. So the setup even changes for this round on the defense. They put that Killjoy on A, Reyna on the other side, and the Killjoy good for the kill.
Wow, it's Flare of all people to find that. Then of course, our Sova's showing off here, both finding Hunter Shuri kills. Darkest looking to get aggressive, but again, against his better judgment, he will back away, or with his better judgment, he will back away safely from the lockdown. Meanwhile, I mean, kills are still being collected. An early pick onto Ferbsa. Space taken out towards A from this attack, and because of that, there's an immediate response. Pushing all the way through B was Comey, collects an easy kill, and Northwood are seemingly trapped now.
And Comey as well. So well played too. Immediately backing up, not wanting to give any extra kill for Northwood. The advantage that they had, just playing around it once again. And these knives have been insane from Darkest. You get that info, but what do you do with it?
What can you do with it? Fragment out. This will stop the push from a heaven. Move's gonna give up his position. Flare finds one from across the site. Nazi collects another, and Ollie not long for this world. Moves, closes it out, and Winthrop continue marching forward here. Now a 4-round lead to their name.
It is a double duelist composition thriving on the defense right now for Winthrop. Round after round, and part of it is Nasty and the many variations that we've seen this guy play. Sometimes we see the aggression pushing right in and getting a kill, then using that dismiss to go back to safety, and sometimes it is holding that corner, waiting for that extra push and trying to secure 1 or 2. It's been a little bit of everything that we can get from this Reyna, as the stack now is a little bit heavier towards B, and that is where the attacking side wants to go.
And Dart dealt with Comey quick on the angle. Look at Nazi from A main to B main. The aggression does not stop, and they are all getting cut down. It doesn't matter what you brought into this round. It is gone. A near flawless finds a 7th for Winthrop.
7 rounds and a strong lead that could turn into the strongest that we've seen throughout today, throughout these grand finals. The most that Winthrop has gotten on the lead is that 8-4. And 2 more they could be. What allows that map number 5 to be played today, the reverse sweep to continue to be a possibility. And then right now, I mean, it's a Winthrop, but on the defense, I just look unstoppable. Again, the idea is, you know, they've been preparing for this comp and for this play.
Deploying drone.
A dip an early drone, no aggression. A main this time as Nazi continues to keep it up out towards B. Surely expecting something here. No way, Nazi util out, tosses out the Lyra. Do they expect another shot? They don't land for moves. He dashes to safety. Benji wishing he could get that kill back. And then escapes him there. A kill out towards the A side opens things up for Northwood to look to get that spike planted. I mean, but Flare from downtown again, from screens, that has been the scariest player on this A site.
And the null command becomes active. 2 players already pretty up close on the defensive side. The kills need to connect. These are the rounds that we've seen Winthrop win.
Enemy remaining.
Benji's so good.
And Benji playing that late lurk, dealing with anybody rotating from this B side. Flare's also being heard in all of this.
Flare didn't get spotted though by the knife.
No, but Benji heard him. Benji heard him storming through mid, dropping down boiler.
30 seconds
Plant's
left.
been heard. Flare with 70
Spike
HP.
planted.
He's gonna try his hand.
Timing.
Ferbsa and Darkus in front of him. Benji just behind him. Darkus gonna go up top. Will have the high ground. I mean, this is crazy that he snuck this far. Surely he expects this one here. And Ferbsa will eventually get it done. No way at a 1v3 clutch when Ferbsa's still alive. And Northwood grab a 3rd.
And that space finally granted towards A. Well, it was a change for Winthrop when you see them finally both of the duelists playing towards B, and that was part of, they knew that no command was gonna become active, was maybe the green light, that entrance towards A that Northwood was waiting for. They only put the Silva there and kept backing up, but that space was something that Northwood has been craving and looking for every single time. How many times though can they do this? No command no longer available. Gonna depend on something else. That lockdown could be won.
Oh, the dart does not get dealt with. Move still on the angle, though. Unfortunately, not given anything there. Again, aggression out towards A main. This time it yields no results. As a flash over the top, Nazi won't give up his spot just yet. Meanwhile, Northwood, they see the op pushing forward out towards A. They say, hey, let's head the other way.
But there's a Viper, and It's Komi as well, the only one here. This is what he likes the most, being the only one on site, trying to hold it by himself, but has to give out that space by the Showstopper.
You should run. Yeah, Showstopper out, but just nowhere to go for Ferbsa. Oh, Move's gonna go up top, but oh, the blades. They land, but not enough for a kill as Nazi collects 2 of his own. Hunter sure looking to clear things out. It's a player through mid and Ali to try and find his way into a favorable position. 2 players detained, and they're just around the corner. Benji will also find another. Fortunately for Winthrop, Flair was not spotted, and he's got the flick of a lifetime to find that trade kill onto Ali. And now Benji put in a situation where he's got to clutch himself a 1v3, but it's just out of reach.
And Flair, for the past couple rounds, he just seems invisible. Nobody on the enemy team can see him. The way that he's sneaking into these positions, the way that he's holding on to them as well for the couple ones. And I mean, and you see it on the kills alone. 17 and 6 is this killjoy right now. We talked about the duelist, but that hasn't even been the biggest need for Winthrop, a team that is now locked in. And this is something that we mentioned, right? The halves, they've been 8-4. Can they secure one more? Can they take that stronger lead?
8-4 available. A buy, though, for Northwood, as once more moves. Finds himself on the front foot. A77 collects the kill on a Ferbsa. Again, Dip gives up way too much before using the drone. And Winthrop University comfortably in the driver's seat. They sat in your car, they reclined it back, they changed it up. All the settings are wrong here as Winthrop look to find themselves in 9th. Ali gets some good damage, but I mean, a 3rd kill finds its way into the scoreboard.
And again,
4th.
Last player
it just like
standing.
everything working out, all the players alive for Winthrop, and a Darkest that has been hitting this insane knife plays, and yet it doesn't matter. It's not enough for the kills, it's not enough for the half or for the round. Winthrop on the lead, 9-3.
I mean, this map was supposed to be the nail in the coffin. The desk talked about it, how Icebox is not a map that we've seen a whole lot from Winthrop University. This comp is not one we've seen at all from Winthrop University. And I will say that even if the Reyna maybe isn't doing what we were expecting, now on the attacking side, there's a chance. But Flair has been so good to make this Reyna pick work.
It's been clean, it's been organized every single time. And like we said, pretty much invisible in so many of these rounds to get that lead.
Yep, ahead of this map, we heard from Moves and the support he's received from his dad. Now let's hear some more players tell us about their family support.
At first, honestly, when I first started competing, my family kind of questioned it. They didn't really know what was happening. But once I kind of swapped into the collegiate scene as well, they actually supported me a lot more, especially since I was getting my degree at the same time and for almost the cost of nothing. So they've been backing me since.
My family's always been real supportive. When I was younger, we'd travel up to Virginia and like go to like my grandpa's basement and set up like 8 TVs and all play Halo together. And like my mom and dad have always played like video games, so they were real supportive. And they've just been even more supportive since we've had so much success.
Most parents will be like, oh, you shouldn't play video games, go study. You know, typical parents. And once I started getting results, especially collegiate, started playing at the team that I did previously, and now going to scholarship, my parents are like, wow, this is like the real deal. So knowing that they're, you know, they have my back and can even drive 6 hours to come see their son play, it means a lot.
And Nazi definitely did some studying. Maybe not the studying that his parents were hoping for at the beginning, but they come into this one completely prepared for this Northwood University squad. Studied up, and now he has a chance to kind of put pen to paper. This Reyna pick, a pocket one for him. On the attacking side, we'll see how much it can do. Now, let's compare it, Dryad, to the Breach that he plays. He can still flash for his team.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's it.
That's as much as you get. I mean, you can also be in really annoying corners to support your duelist.
Sure.
So, you know, there's some connection over there. And I mean, it is working out for Winthrop. So, I mean, it's nice to see it in so many variations, especially in the early runs that we got to see on the defense. There were many setups that they had ready for that Reyna, for the flashes, for the aggression to come through, to even hold and hide into those corners. Now on the attacking side, this is where it gets interesting. Like you said, you have those flashes, but the setup does become a lot more difficult.
And no dart just yet. Instead, an early drone moves on his front foot here. Darkest will be spotted. Ferbza also going to be spotted on this side of the map. It is so quick out this way. Good suppression, though. We'll make sure this util doesn't get a whole lot. But, I mean, the A site just continues to belong to A77 from defense to attack. It's Comey just on the other side of the toxic screen. Doesn't give himself up just yet. I mean, they're hiding behind the guise of this wall. And eventually will fall down. But who's on the other side? Not Ferbza. He's been taken off the map. Darkest still holds the high ground. And it gets quiet for just a moment. Moobs wants to get aggressive. Has the dash online. But the wall comes up.
Darkest too. The positioning here that can be scary, may be good for one, at least a couple you're hoping for on the side of Northwood.
Low, walking through the wall. Nazi low, doesn't matter.
It's all
Takes
good.
the head off the robot. All good. Yep, absolutely. Ooh, Dip gets him back though. Ollie still here to fight. And a 1v2. Dip puts himself in a difficult situation, but a winnable one at the very least. But it's A77 on the other side. He's been revealed, but the ball is in his court. He has to grab the spike and get it planted, and A77 does it again.
Again on the pistol round, A77 ready for it and secures the double digits for Winthrop. How does he do it over and over again? I'm not sure. Just insane with the Soba this time around before the Sentinel. It doesn't matter. He's gonna make sure he's the last one alive and that the round will go the way of Winthrop.
And respect to A77. Light shields and an owl drone that round. Gets it done with the
Played it so
classic.
well.
Does not need the sheriff. As we jump into the next round, a couple of sheriffs purchased up in a frenzy. This right here, though, this is Chemical X. This is everything that Northwood need to create the Powerpuff Girls. These rounds typically go their way. We'll see if that can be silenced.
And it's a push as well for the defense. It gives an answer there. Dip takes down Flare that was waiting for that push from that flank. And it's not enough, so that we're gonna put one more body into watching behind. That one being A77 for a second.
I mean, how many people were spotted there, right? They're taking this A site. Uncontested for now, moves. Gonna grab the high ground. Things about to get awkward, though, as he walks right into the sight lines of Benji. Northwood collect another kill in this anti-eco. Nazi goes aggressive. Will find a kill on the Darkest. And now ball in Northwood's court as they have to work their way against the clock, against the spike. Comey gonna try and dance his way out of a dangerous spot, and he does so. He takes a kill with him. Ali there for the trade, but Nazi gets one right back. And the health is low. Surely not winnable for Northwood. And that's exactly the case. Nazi, big for 4, 11-3. Winthrop want to close out Icebox.
Nazi with the 4K and that Reyna playing around that utility, being the difference maker. 11 rounds. And at the beginning of that round, I gotta be honest, I got scared for a second. We saw Northwood get an opening pick. Then they go all the way around. They leave one of the players watching, being scared of the flank possibility. The trade started to come through, but of course, Nazi was there and able to answer.
Full buy for the bonus, or against the bonus, I should say. Moves, going aggressive, finds the first. Ferbza nabs one right back, but guess who's right behind him? Nazi, in this trusty Stinger, just keeps moving forward. Unfortunately, doesn't quite have that pen value, so he can't find the spam kill through the wall. Ferbza's giving up his spot, and all this util used to try and keep this attack at bay.
And again, another round where we see the aggression, and Winthrop doesn't care about the knife. 3 of the players get suppressed, and still you saw Nazi going in on this position. And Northwood so aware of this, having to play together for this one. The rifles are on their side, but for the first half, there were not enough to secure rounds.
Do they expect this? Ferbza tucked away. Player still on the high ground. Recon bolt goes out. Nobody revealed just yet. Benji scoots his way on forward, collects 2 huge kills. Nazi gonna try his hand at the clutch. Unfortunately, he falls short, so Northwood, they get rifles in their hands. They find themselves in the win column once more, and now they have to keep moving forward.
Northwood willing to give a little bit more space towards, say, letting them cross the Viper wall, and that playing reactive. One of them at the bottom, one of them at the top. Securing the 4th round too, but a long way to go if they want to win this map. They will want to close the grand finals here on Icebox. As Winthrop, they seem to have just enough of a lead for it. Though the buy it's not the best. It's a little bit uncomfortable. A rifle, a hero rifle, if anything, from Nazi. Everybody else, the Guardian plays the aggression towards mid, something that we haven't seen much of before.
Yeah, the mid play has almost been non-existent for the most part. We've seen very few players take liberty of pushing out that way.
Flight.
Round 16 obviously gives us a bit more of that. So that drone will just secure that A77 still hanging out in the area. 1-for-1 trade, but Comey lesser on HP. Means that Northwood find themselves a bit more favored here in this next round. Ooh, Nazi. Okay, here we go. Empress online, and now Northwood have problems. As Benji's the first one to go, spots the next. The rotators are here. Zolly collects a kill into A77, crossing out towards mid. Hunter sure to slow things down for a moment. Comey's just got nowhere to go. That's the spike leaving this site, but now needs to be retrieved, and it's all up to Duelist to do it.
And so far away right now. First, you're gonna have to deal with Ali on the other side.
One enemy remaining.
With a crossfire too, making it impossible to get out.
And they're ready for the
30
aggression.
seconds left.
Ali looking to play off the contact of Dip. Good shot from Moves. 25 seconds on the clock, though. He doesn't have a whole lot of time to play with. But they're giving up the site. They give him the space, Dryad.
Even after that kill, you'd expect them to go in, but actually, yeah, like you said, giving that space, having that lineup as well with the shocker
10 seconds
of where
left.
you would usually plant. And no way, Moves was good for one. I almost saw that happening with the flag, but no, Dip takes care of it.
Takes care of it. Moves playing the mind games there, but Northwood do not fall for it. So stalwart in their defense as they put another on the board. Still trailing or chasing 6 rounds. 5 to Winthrop's 11. As they're going to go ahead and come together, see what they can purchase here on this one. A pretty good buy on the side of the attack. Move's going to be rocking those knives.
I'll find them.
And if there's a round here for Winthrop to get to 12, to take us to the 5th map, is got to be this one. The 2 in a row would be ideal, and a big part of it can be Moves. A player that we've set up, we talked about, you know, the criminal activity that he sometimes has when he has these knives, when he has his jet feeling comfortable and ready to go.
I mean, very uncharacteristic. That's one of the fights that Benji, we typically see him win those. Moves. Ooh, just playing distraction here. Flare not going to clear his corners as you would have hoped. Moves now going to try for the fight. Blade still available, but a rifle in hand. They need to try and dig out Darkus as he's got himself the spike. 2 players swing this way. Moves finally here to collect, and now the last one standing is Dip. The IGL, who talked about playing his best under pressure. Well, here in round 17, there's a lot of it.
Spike planted.
There's a little pressure when you're thinking about even going to a map 5, something that Northwood never even had to deal with in the past. It's all been dominant performances from them. And trying to count it down, Dip gets 1, but that's about it. Nazi gets that 3rd kill into 12. It's Winthrop 1 round away from taking us to the map number 5.
Wow, I mean, we talked about the double duelist. Nazi has obviously had his impact, especially on this half, but we're still seeing incredible things from Flare, just being at the right place at the right time, able to find trades for his team. And with that, backs against the wall here. You mentioned it, Dryad. Northwood University have never been pushed to a map 5, no matter the outcome. If Winthrop could close out this one, they've got themselves a minor victory.
Every single grand finals that we've seen for Northwood, it is going to be either a 2-0, a 3-0, maybe a 3-1. But that's as close as it gets. This would be new territory. And then when we talk about the advantages that Northwood had, the experience, this is not an experience that they have under their belt. They don't have that map 5 closing it out experience. And that can be a good chance for Winthrop. But first, they're going to need to close out this Icebox, and it seems like the tools are there, right? They have that Viper Spit, they have that lockdown to use. And as a Northwood, that just cannot do anything. It feels like the darkest knife is not hitting at all.
At all. Well, and it's what you love to see, right? What do you expect when you get hit with the knife? Probably that they're gonna let
Backing
up.
up.
Right? You know that. We
Yeah.
know that you're there. There's no way you catch us off guard. No, Nazi just continues to run forward. Even on defense, Moob's getting hit with that
Insane.
knife, and he would stay on the angle with the operator. It's not always that it worked, but they expect the unexpected, right? Is kind of the takeaway from this one here, because this is all been unexpected from Winthrop University. As we jump back into the server, the buy is anything but the best for Northwood University, but Winthrop aren't out of the weeds just yet. They still have to close us out.
You need to close it out, and that for some teams, for some players, that might be the most difficult thing. When you get that confidence going, making sure that you're able to reset player and continue playing your own game. But for Winthrop, it seems like as of right now, they're not planning on changing it. It is quite early on. Pretty heavy towards B, only 2 players all the way back. The Killjoy util, the mollies as well that you get, that you can see from that KO, they should be enough to slow things down, but can the rest of the team come back in time?
Oof, Darkus just looking for a good timing there. They were gonna wait to play off the Killjoy utility to play that flash. Instead, they just take the fight, and Flare is too good for it. 2 bodies dropped, nobody in the area to get that resurrection, so Darkus will find himself taking his leave. Flare will secure it. The kill traded back though.
30
As the
seconds
showstopper
left.
found one. Pink shells will go out, but Ferbza gets no more than that. As Ali, with a rifle in hand,
Planted.
and his sidekick Benji, only with a Spectre, a 2v4. But it feels out of reach, Triad.
It does. I mean, the players have clutched out the rounds before, but with the time, with the positioning is here towards yellow, it just seems impossible.
1 kill from the lockdown. If Benji could find something early, maybe they could get something done. Ultimate online, but they're running out of time. They don't feel comfortable enough. Finally, he'll walk his way up towards yellow. Player still here to fight Nazi. Gives up the angle. Out comes the shorty. Benji may have done enough here in this round. No, that's gonna do it. Winthrop, a minor victory here. They push Northwood the distance. A game 5 now on the docket with Winthrop 1 map away from the reverse sweep, Triad.
1 run away from making it happen and going to new territory for both of the teams from the matchup that they had in the upper bracket. And I mean, you see it now on the side of Northwood. It's something that they did not expect at all. Not only the composition, not only the plays, but also going to map number 5. When you hear the players, nobody here, no matter who you're talking to from Northwood, they'll tell you, we're ready for anything. We're gonna take them 3-0. They're ready for the action and to shut things down as early as possible, but this is different.
And you can't blame them for feeling that way, because that's just what Northwood does. This, as you mentioned, uncharted territories, getting pushed to a 5th map. Regardless of the outcome, Winthrop can walk away from this one knowing that they have defied all odds. Fortunately, this isn't the end, right? Fortunately, Dryad, we've got another map. That map our analysts are going to set up here momentarily, but it's a spot where we might see another Reyna.
And I don't know if we're going to see it. Some teams in Tier 2 have been playing with the Reyna on Pearl. I don't know if this is going to be the case. Hey, look, I would love to see that. I would love to see that, but the chances here are pretty low, though. I'm excited to see what they're going to bring.
Yeah, we'll see if that's the case as we're headed back to the analysts, starting with a Telestrator breakdown from Sully.
Tanner, Dryad, we are witnessing history. This is the first time in a best of 5 we are seeing a map 5 where Northwood's name is on the line. Here, we've got a really nice breakdown of how this kind of crumbled on the attacking side of Northwood, starting at a 3-9 loss. That's not a half that we see all too often, and here is exactly why. We're gonna be looking very quickly at the B site, where I felt a lot of the struggles came from with this roster and this composition in particular. One of the key things that was missing that a lot of people will notice is the lack of a Sage. Sage, as we know, is super critical when it comes to getting B site plans down. I'm gonna pause things here really quick. We'll go to the mini map. And when we look at this, you'll notice a couple of things. First, 2 nanostorms and how quickly this Winthrop side were able to rotate to the B site, and that puts a lot of pressure on these players looking for a plant. Now, one thing that we will notice here as I come out of the full screen is This is the typical area where we want to see a sage wall. And without that sage wall, teams are gonna have a tough time trying to go for the plant and trying to establish a post-plant situation. And another thing we will notice here, again, I'm gonna go back to the full screen, is when you don't have a sage, what you really want to look for is you want to have a duelist that can get deep into the back lines, get past that Viper's wall over here, where you can get aggressive towards Snowman, or you can get aggressive over towards Orange. And we didn't have that, because if you look at things, Furbza is nowhere to be seen in this instance. And so what this did for the side of Northwood is they didn't have the capabilities to make strong B execs. They were lacking kind of diversity in a lot of their execs. And eventually this was the only B exec that we ever saw from the Northwood side. And things got easier for Winthrop when they realized, hey, they can't effectively take that B site. All we've got to do is worry about our A side execs. And I think that's where Northwood kind of fell behind in their attacking meta. And for a team that is super innovative and super strong at their attacking side, this is where they fell flat. And ultimately that cushion for Winthrop really set them up for the rest of the series.
And there you have it. Sully, thank you very much for that breakdown on the attack for Northwood that was falling behind. And, you know, we look at a couple of these different agents that came into play. The Reyna was something that Winthrop pulled out. It was like, okay, like, and it's Nasi on it. It's not Moobs. Moobs has that second duelist there on the Jet. Yet another kind of performance where we're waiting for Moose to step up, but it also allowed another opportunity for someone else to step up for Winthrop. It's Flair this time, represent Sioux City, Iowa, coming up huge there. Crazy stuff here as this series is now flipped on its head.
It really has. And in the beginning, again, you got to see, obviously, Winthrop be put in a position that they haven't been put before. They were in the lead in the beginning, and that boosted their confidence to a point where we hadn't necessarily seen before, which, again, really leads into the way that Moobs was feeling. But the biggest change and the biggest factor of that was Nasi.
Nasi, yet another strong performance. Again, putting the team on the back while things are still waiting to warm up there for Moobs. On the opposite side, we heard in the SOT earlier, and we were waiting. It was no news. Not as much scrim practice here for Northwood. Now on to Icebox, which is a map that we don't get a lot of scrims on at all, not in the current meta. And they felt a little behind, did Northwood. They tried to light it up with the guns, but weren't quite able to do so. Solely now things are starting to look a little more gloom here on this side as they go to the first ever best of 5.
It's the first time we've seen like worried faces on Northwood. Like, this is not a Northwood team that I'm used to seeing with like, dude, we have to fix things. And Icebox definitely felt uncomfortable. The game plan, this composition just in general felt rough. And the style that I think Winthrop brought was that confidence. That first map win brought them to life. Nasi multiple times getting aggressive on the ice side with the Reyna. And it took a while for Northwood to adjust to that kind of style and say, hey, we need to watch out for this Nasi guy. But Winthrop were very quick to adapt as well. Again, like I was saying on the Telestrator, you can kind of only hit the A site if you're a Northwood team. And a lot of the times it was Winthrop stacking 4-3 players on that A site all ready for an exec. And Northwood became this one-dimensional team that we honestly never have seen.
Yeah, definitely not, as we have a big highlight here from the man from Hawaii. It's Comey yet again, who stepped up. We highlighted last time in the upper bracket finals, had a tough series. This time, huge clutch here.
This was his homeland, in all honesty. Like, Icebox is the place where he can call home. And we got to see a little bit of Comey right down in Split, and, you know, he was really popping off. But again, it just felt like this composition just really meshed so well. And Viper on a map like Icebox, again, there's so much to work with here. So putting Comey in a position like that, putting Comey on a map like Icebox where you have that Reyna to frag, you can feel a bit more comfortable getting those entries in onto site. I feel like he kind of just flourished with that util, and I don't know, everything just worked out.
Sully, again, now let's reset the stakes here.
There you go.
2-2. You're pushing the de facto best collegiate team in the world all the way to the brink after losing some heartbreak rounds, a heartbreak map number 2 in Fractured that you're up on. And now you have the opportunity to erase all the mistakes and cap one of the greatest comebacks in the history of Valorant here on Pearl.
We don't see reverse sweeps ever. No. The only one I can think of is a Game Changers G2 goes in reverse sweep, and that is about it. This does not happen. So for Winthrop, again, all the odds are stacked against them. A Moobs that isn't performing, a Moobs that is not feeling confident, a team that wasn't feeling confident up until that map was split. Dude, spirits have got to be through the roof. They've got to be feeling electric after that 4th map because that's a dominant win against the best team in collegiate VALORANT at the moment, and they did it dominantly. It was a Winthrop that felt confident, felt refined, and felt polished. There were not those unnecessary swings that we saw over and over between the first 3 maps, but there were still some, you know, things that you can nitpick and say, hey, like if you did this a little bit better, I would feel 100% confident that Winthrop going to this 5th map, and they put up a banger of a competitive 5th map against this side of Northwood.
Yeah, and they honestly did because, again, Winthrop, they're in a 2-2 position. Like, again, you said it, this is history. Northwood never in ages have been able to have a 2-2 score line, and it's pressuring them. This is a position they've never been in before. Yeah, okay, you could say they have Pro coming up. Like, this is a map they're pretty comfortable in, but they could also say that for Icebox, and they could also say that for Split.
History on the line here for Northwood. History on the line here for Winthrop. The first ever VAL championship going all 5 maps in a way that we didn't expect, with the team that we didn't expect to be here. Winthrop trying to buck the trend as Northwood, you see them discussing their strategies. We've talked a lot from the lens of Winthrop. On the opposite side here for Northwood, what are the conversations like here, Sully?
I think Northwood have got to sit with themselves and say, hey, like, hey, Icebox just wasn't it for us. That's not our map. I think kind of speaking what Logan and Tuesday were saying when we had them on the desk, it's like you kind of have to reset yourself after a map loss, and Northwood have not been in this position before, so this is something new that they're facing. And that the man right there, Cody, the coach for this team, he's been with this team every step of the way, so his words here are absolute gold for this roster. And what I want to see Northwood come into this one is a confident-looking team where Ferbsa, you know, that guy needs to be confident again, because Moobs, if you get that man online in this final map, which Moobs is a pressure player, pressure makes diamonds, if Ferbsa can't step up to that plate, we might have some issues here. And if this team isn't feeling confident, we are definitely going to have issues.
Yeah, bringing on to your point with Ferbsa as well, make him that center point for that pressure, because we saw on Haven in the beginning, right, that paranoia to come through down in mid, and he was able to apply that pressure. He was able to create that space. That's something we've been missing lately, and it feels like that fear, he kind of went into the position where, you know, Moobs is right now, as to where he's also there as well. So it feels like both of our main duelists really need that step up of confidence so that they can continue.
For Winthrop, 877, Flair, Comey, Moobs, Nasi. For Northwood, Ali, Dip, Benji, Ferbsa, and Darkest. Only 5 of these players will be crowned the first ever VAL champion. Who will it be? We'll find out after this short break. The final map of the VAL season coming in just a bit.
Ferbsa will find the first. A77 there to collect another for Winthrop. Oh, is brought into this round. The drop down, the backstab is there. There's the Molly kill as well.
And the spike, yeah, it didn't get planted. They wanted to get these spikes first. Flair gets 2 actually on this killjoy.
To 9th, Ali gets some good damage, but I mean, a 3rd kill finds its way into the scoreboard. Way out of a dangerous spot, and he does so. He takes a kill with him. Ali there for the trade, but Nazi gets one right back. And the health is low, surely not winnable for Northwood, and that's exactly the case. Nazi, big for 4, 11-3.